Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Dean Alms. I'm with AutoRABIT. And for those of you who think that we may have misspelled RABIT, RABIT stands for Rapid Application Build, Integration, and Test. So that's where that acronym came from, and really the essence of what we're all about. We're here today to talk to you about DevOps, how we've integrated Salesforce DX into our process for continuous delivery to the cloud. So once again, thank you for being here. The two presenters today, myself, once again, VP of Product and Strategy for AutoRABIT, and Prashant. He will be doing most of the talking here this afternoon. In fact, every minute I'm up here is a minute away from the demo, so I will be very quick about this. Just wanted to give you a quick overview of AutoRABIT in terms of who we are. We're a leading release management platform for Salesforce DevOps. We have operations around the world, including here in the US, New York, Washington, D.C., the San Francisco Bay Area, as well as London, Australia, and Hyderabad. We've experienced tremendous growth. We continue to double in terms of revenue and customer size and everything else. And a lot of that has to do with Salesforce and the promotion that they're putting around DX and elevating the importance of DevOps for all of your organizations. We are a gold partner of Salesforce, and last year we won the Demo Jam partner for our particular solution here called AutoRABIT. And you can see some of the customers we have here today. We have customers with as few as 3 developers and as many as 300 developers, so it really runs the gamut. Usually they start out with about 5 developers, and it often expands from there. Many of you know the continuous loop. Here is our version of it with the various elements of it. And what's unique about our product is that we've incorporated our own CI server. So many of you that know DevOps already today, know Jenkins, things of that nature, we've actually tailored our CI server to work with Salesforce and the metadata associated with that. When we talk about our suite, our DevOps suite, Automated Release Management, it is covering the aspects that you see there, stage 2 through stage 5. We do have integration with stage 1 in terms of tie-ins to Jira or other ALM solutions, but really it is about code, merge, test, and deploy. And then we have a number of tools to make that happen as fast as we possibly can. Why customers choose AutoRABIT as one of the solutions? Certainly, I'll just put all these up here. Certainly one of the big reasons that I got a rapid developer. Point this way. Sorry about that. So one of the big reasons, of course, that we are used over a tool like Jenkins and some of the more powerful, some more of the established, I should say, DevOps tools is because Jenkins and tools like that do not have the metadata awareness, the metadata mastery. Are you doing that? I am not.
Sorry.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
They don't have that capability, and we do. Certainly others here at the show have metadata capability as well, but we have really taken that to the nth level. We also have capability around how fast we can do deployments. Because we can do partial deployments, you don't have to do the entire load, but you can pick out select pieces of it, then we can take advantage of that as well. We have the most deployment options because we can do on-premise deployments and others cannot. We tout that advantage. And then finally, we're future-proof. We think about how you're going to be using your DevOps solution in the future. Even if you start today with just a code commit or just merge or whatever the case may be, over time you're going to want to integrate the whole piece, and that's where we come into play. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Prashant, and he'll go into, once again, a little bit more about the people, process, and technology associated with DevOps, and then a demo.
Right. Thank you very much, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So my name is Prashant. I am the product manager for AutoRABIT. So today I'm going to talk about our agenda here and what we are here to solve. So everybody knows that DevOps comes in 3 pieces. One is the people part, the culture, the attitude. The second part is the process. It could be your branching strategy. It could be your workflow. It could be how your development teams are using it. And the last and the most critical part, again, is the technology, the tool that you would be using in order to drive the innovation of DevOps that you want to solve. So when it comes to people, there are 4 critical pieces that from my experience with interacting with customers and doing POCs with our customers on DX, I realized that there are four core responsibilities of four groups. So one is the product owner, who kind of is the champion. He needs to communicate, among multiple stakeholders on what a user story is, how you want to drive your own go-to-market strategy, creating backlog of stories, identifying, defining specs. So the first buy-in that you need to get in order to get DX. So today, what I'm trying to solve here is how do you move from your regular metadata API-based deployment to adopting Salesforce DX. So that's the first person who would be responsible in order to put the gamut, and say that, yes, we want to do DX because it's going to give us a lot more technology advantage on using package model rather than using APIs, just an all or nothing or a happy soup deployment. The second person is the technical architect. So he needs to review the legacy metadata. He needs to understand how to split your production orgs. And how many of you have a production org which is more than 5 or 6 years old? Yeah, there you go. So if you have a production org that is that old, you probably will have 10,000 or 15,000 components. And when you try to create a package from your happy soup, you probably would be getting all the metadata in a single package, right? So this is the guy that will be responsible for reviewing the legacy metadata, segmenting metadata, and create a stable foundation. The third guy is obviously the most important person, the reason why we are all here, the developer. So he is the person who needs to take all of it, take what the architect does, take what the product owner defines, and get that going, right? So he needs to create those scratch arcs. He needs to work with those unlocked packages. Everything that's happening in this room is something that he needs to use to move into the DX strategy for the company. And the fourth person is, or the fourth group, is the release manager group. So they need to create the release schedules. They need to create the release notes, make sure every deployment is successful, make sure that on your release days are kind of smooth and you're not spending too much time. So this is about the people. So most of it is what is the responsibility that each group takes in order to move from the existing model, from chain sets or from AND-based deployment tools to this beautiful place where you can start using DX and everyone can create packages and maintain versioning of your user stories. So the next thing is process, the process in which how you want to do it. So this is a sample process that I have here. You can tweak it in any way you like. So this is where we're talking about feature branches. So AutoRABIT is a tool that does not only say that you have to do feature branches. You could do sprint-based branches. You could do release-based branches. So irrespective of your branching strategy, this flow here kind of changes from company to company, how comfortable you are, how many development streams you have. So what we see here we have 4 development streams or 4 user stories that are being worked upon. And obviously, all the user stories needs to come in and sit in one place. That is where the dev integration comes in. So, and as you can see, at every place, there are unlocked packages that are being moved from integration layer from the branch to the sandbox. So you would be moving away from the whole, wrap the entire branch and deploy it into the Salesforce org. You only want to deploy what has changed, or you only want to deploy your own package. You don't want to deploy, another developer's or another team's package. So that is what we are trying to solve here. How does AutoRABIT help here? So we were able to build a wrapper, a GUI wrapper, and a workflow around what we do best. So we simplified the whole DX, and we kind of said that maybe this is the way that we want to evolve. And we did some POCs with our customers, and this thing works. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to restructure and componentize your source code into tiny code blocks, what you can call as base packages. The second thing that you need to solve is how you will use scratch arcs in the context. Now, you don't want vanilla scratch arcs. You just don't want a scratch arc which doesn't have any of your production data. So if I'm a developer, and as the day of a developer starts, he's assigned a user story. And based on the user story, he needs to do 1, 2, 3 things. So now when he creates a scratch arc, how nice would it be if he can create the scratch arc and also have the context of his user story flow into his scratch arc, right? So for example, if I'm working on a sales application and I want to add a new probably opportunity close status into my and let's suppose that that's my story. So I need to have my scratch arc with all of my opportunity object and the dependencies of the opportunity object in my scratch arc so that I can add that new status. I mean, I just oversimplified what a user story could be, but obviously that's not so simple. And the last thing is the use of unlock packages. You want to make sure that your team is comfortable in creating unlock package, maintaining versions, and promoting those unlock packages into your production arcs, into your sandboxes. So this is another workflow, and again, as I said, this is some pieces that are critical to success. One is your branching strategy. Two is how do you want to use your flow. So what you're seeing here is as soon as a user story is created, a branch is created for the user story. And again, this is not a hard and fast rule that you need to follow this. This is a sample workflow. You can tweak our tool to use any workflow. So what we're saying is when a developer is committing his user story, we want to put him to a gate and say that, hey, did you validate your package before committing it into your version control? Did you run static code analysis? Did you run code coverage reports? So we want to make sure that basically, in a version control, there's a saying, garbage in is garbage out. So you want to make sure that your teams, your developer teams, has the confidence that nobody is committing garbage and it's not going to break your CI cycles. So let's see this in action. Let me give you a small demonstration of how our sandboxes, our DX works. Give me just a sec. Sorry. All right. So let me start by talking about how do you, so every production org is also called developer hub. So this is where the whole DXP starts. So you register, so this is a place where you can register all of your development environments. So say, for example, if you have multiple production orgs, multiple developer and hubs, that you can register those here. You would be able to see how many scratch arcs do you have for each development org. So let's get to the good stuff. So the first piece that I was talking about, the modularization. How do you split your happy soup code into little pieces of logical blocks, right? So these are some modules that you have on the screen. So when I'm creating module, I'm going to say something like, this is my sales app for Europe region, and I want to choose the org that I want to create this module from, and obviously these modules would reside in your production. So module is nothing but it is, sorry about that. So module is also something that would reside in your version control system. So let's suppose that I have the bot controller class, and I want to add some custom fields to that. So let's suppose that this is one of my package. My bot controller is my package for my sales application. So now when I'm creating this module, I can validate this on any of the orgs. So I'm just choosing a random org here. And once I validate this, I want AutoRABIT to publish it into one of the branches. So I can create a new branch directly from the tool. I can choose a parent branch, and I can say create a branch. So what I'm doing is I am creating a small logical block of code from my production org and moving that logical block into my version control. Let me tell you what will happen after this. Now, when I'm creating a scratcher, I can just import this module whenever I'm building my sales application, and I can create my second version on that. That's how you would be most simply using the unlock packages. And if you have any dependencies, so let's say that this is my development, the DevHub org that I've selected, and I also want to notify my team leader saying that this is the org that I'm creating. So at the bottom, you see package dependencies. So this is another huge part of unlock packages. Each you can have a package related to multiple other packages. So you will be able to see what are the package dependencies directly when you're creating a module. You can also say that you want AutoRABIT to automatically create a data set for your module, and you want to include metadata dependencies. So this is part of the dependency API protocol that is being released by Salesforce. There's also already a beta running on that. I'm not sure how many of you are subscribed to it, but this is where Salesforce provides an API to tell you what metadata is dependent on which other metadata, so what and where. So yeah, so I can simply create a package. I can say create module, and it will validate the Salesforce org. So once you created the module, the second part is now the developer has something to work with. Now he needs to move this module into his Scratch org. So what he can do is he can simply come to our Scratch org management system, and he can go ahead and create a Scratch org. So there are two ways you can create a Scratch org in AutoRABIT. So let me just name this Trailhead DX. And I can upload a definition file if you're nerd enough, or you can use the interface provided by AutoRABIT to input your details. So you can enter your username, and you can enter the duration, you can choose the features, and so on and so forth. This is out of the box from Salesforce. We have not added anything more here. So this is how you can create your Scratchers. What else we have done is, after you create this Scratch org, so let me just name something here. That's good. After you create your, OK, 1 second. All right, let's see. So yeah, once you create your Scratch org, you also want to choose the module that we just created. You can import that. You can automate that and bring that into your Scratch org. You can say that this is the module that I'm working with, and you can ask AutoRABIT to also load the data set. So when you create a Scratch org, you're not only creating a vanilla Scratch org, but you're getting your metadata, you're getting your data, and you have ample, the right context in your Scratch org to create what it requires to complete your user story. So yeah, so I can, again, once I do this, I can map a Salesforce branch to it. I can say that this particular Scratch org is related to the branch that I just created, Salesforce for EU, and I can associate it with my ALM system. So the context here is I am grouping 3 silos of data. I'm grouping my Salesforce, I'm grouping my version control, and I'm grouping my ALM system. So at any point of time, if you look at your user story, you would be able to figure out, oh, OK, so this user story is in this particular Scratch org, and it is in this branch. So at any point of time, you have that 360 view of where your user story is. So once you do that, so let me just show you one of the Scratchers that we created. It's going to take some time. So once you create your Scratch org, you can also open your Scratch org directly from the AutoRABIT interface. So this is where we use the JWT token provided by Salesforce to open the Scratch org. So you never have to leave AutoRABIT to figure out what are the credentials of your Scratch org, how many users, who is the user permission, and so on and so forth. So you simply say that, hey, AutoRABIT, open the Scratch org, and you can continue doing your development. So let's suppose that you have completed doing your development. Now, what's next? The next part is you have to create an unlock package so that you can publish it into your version control system. So we're not talking about just moving simple code and metadata into the version control system. We are talking about moving packages. We are talking about installing packages in different environments. So in order to create a package, you have to come back to AutoRABIT and ask AutoRABIT to create an unlock package. You can define your package name. You can say which DevHub org does the package reside on, and you're able to see that as soon as I choose my DevHub org, I'm able to see all my dependencies. So this is kind of pretty important when it comes to collaborating amongst your teams. Say, for example, you have 10 or 15 developers. You want to be able to see what are the package dependencies that each developer is creating. Now, if you're working individually on a local system, you would not have this information unless you pull it down from the version control. But by using a tool like AutoRABIT, and again, automation is the name of the game, you're able to see what are all the dependency packages. So once you create your package, you can go back and add multiple versions to this package. So I can say that, hey, this is my version 3 of my So I can say this is my version 12. I can say what is the version number, and I can just create another version on top of an existing unlock package. Now, what this will do is, so you have multiple versions of the same package. So you're never overwriting your peer's code, or you're never overwriting somebody else's package. So you already have a new version. And the best part about packages is if you install one unlock package, it kind of brings the dependencies along with it. So for example, at version 1, I created a custom field, and at version 3, I've created a validation rule. So when I install version 3, version 1 with the custom field will automatically install. So this is the beauty of unlock packages. You do not have to fight with your deployment failures to figure out what did I miss in my deployment and why did my deployment fail. So that is the beauty of it. And in the application itself, you'll be able to see what is the package name, what is the version, and let me see if I can show you where you can promote something directly into your sandbox. So yeah, so if your version is already created, you'll also have the installation URL, and this is something that is stored by Salesforce, and you can promote this. So when you promote an installation package, it'll basically be production ready. So you can then use the AutoRABIT deployment interface to choose your unlock package. So let's say that this is test 1, 2, 3. That's something that we all love. So, and I can just choose where do I want to deploy my installation package to. And when I say deploy, so what AutoRABIT would do is it will kind of go and install your promoted unlock package into the Salesforce org of your choice. So remember how we talked about the process, the branching? So developers would be able to work independently using source control as the single source of truth, using unlock packages so that they don't have to overwrite their own code. So this, in a nutshell, is how we solved the Salesforce DX. So if you're wondering, how do I use all the good stuff that is promoted by Salesforce in terms of scratch-offs or unlock packages, where do I get started? So this is one solution that you have where you can immediately adopt to the DX technologies. So just to summarize, so what you're seeing here is we bring people and process closer. You can fetch and select metadata members from application from your DevHub org, include metadata dependencies, create automated test data, publish module as unlock package, add dependent unlock packages, push the source code into SFDX compatible source. So at any point of time, AutoRABIT would not overwrite any of your DX code in your branches. It will create multiple folders so that you never overwrite your code. That's the whole point that we are trying to solve with DX. So modularization, scratch arc management with contextual scratch arcs, user story management, unlock packages where you can maintain a dashboard of your unlock packages, maintaining dependencies, deploy and upgrade packages right from the AutoRABIT UI. And just to summarize, so this is a maturity model that we keep talking about. So when you have multiple, and this again falls under your process, where you depending upon how your team functions. So you can be a beginner, you could be a novice, you could be a practitioner. So for example, a company with about 100 developers might be at a level 2, who only adopted source control and they're using Jira as their user story management, and they want to bring it all together. So an innovator of DevOps, in our view, and what Salesforce says is fully automated deployments, high-frequency deployments, granular merges. So this is something that you can get together. Now, there's a lot more that I want to show you as part of our tool, but with 20 minutes, I could only squeeze in as much as I can. But we are at booth number 12, so if you feel free to stop by, and I can give you a personal demo and what we can do more. At the end, we basically create a 360-degree success with Salesforce DX and AutoRABIT. So AutoRABIT is a promoter of Salesforce DX, and you can easily adopt DX with AutoRABIT. So yeah, feel free to stop by at our booth, and we'll give you a personal demo. If there are any questions, I would love to take them.
Out of time.
Out of time? OK, I'm sorry. All right, so one final slide. We have a giveaway. So please come by to our booth to know what is that giveaway and how you can win that crazy professional grade icebox. Right, thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.